In this video, we are going to be looking at the recommended tools that you should have on hand to work on your RC car. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is Roadside RC. On the channel, you'll find everything from bashing and crawling to drifting, racing, plus product review videos and how-tos. Today, on the workbench, a whole slew of tools that I typically use when working on RC cars. These are the ones that get used the most, and I'm going to be sharing with you what they are, why I use them, which ones I think are the most important, and which ones can you get a little bit later. We're going to start this off with the products that I believe you must have. Like, these are the definite recommend. Go get these now. Usually pretty inexpensive also, so kind of no regrets purchases. The first product up is some magnetic trays. You can pick these up for super cheap at places like Harbor Freight, Amazon, Home Depots, all that kind of thing. And as you're working on your vehicle and you're taking parts off of it, you put the parts in there. If they're metal, they stick to it. You knock them over, they don't come out, you don't lose them. Different color coding. As you take your car apart, you can keep the screws together, you can keep them organized. And maybe these are all from the front, this was all from the motor, something to that degree. That way it's easy to, you don't lose them, and it's easy to find where they go to put them back. Really promise you, you can tell how much mine have been used over time by how dirty they are. No regrets. Get yourself a set. Up next is a set of screwdrivers. Now honestly, this should not be that complicated. Most vehicles actually come with a hex driver, so you're not going to be using a bunch of flat blade or Phillips screwdrivers, but they are useful on occasion. Also, very importantly, the picks here. I use these very frequently for cleaning out the head of screws so that I can get my hex drivers onto them. Very helpful. The picks, you can get groups of pick sets. Obviously, kind of a larger flat blade screwdriver, small one for getting into tight spaces, plus a Phillips. Basically all you need. Item number 3 now is a set of pliers. Again, we're looking at a very basic set of pliers here. We need a set of side cutters. You're going to be cutting wires, you're going to be cutting zip ties, you're going to be cutting things along those lines. Get you a good pair. These are kind of the ones that you want to spend a little bit of money on. Basic set of needle nose, some set of more, sliding, adjustable. These are from Home Depot, some Huskies, but some kind of pliers like this. And then I actually really like a set of locking pliers. When you have a stripped head on a screw, or if you need to get maybe a pin out, sometimes a set of locking pliers can really be really useful. As I mentioned, most of the screws that you will encounter in RC are actually a hex screw, and so you will want to get a set of the MIP tools. Yes, I know they're a little bit pricey compared to whatever else you can find out there, but they're worth it. I promise you, just get a set. What you will need is the set of 1.5, 2, and 2.5 millimeter hexes. That will get you through almost every situation. Now you have a choice. You can either get the pre-handled set with the tips on them. They come as a 3-pack. I'll provide you a link down below. Or you can get these individual bit ends and then just a handle to put them in. Either way works out really well. Obviously, I have a mix of them. These are nice because if you end up using some kind of powered tool like a drill, they will chuck up in there very easily. 5th on our list is a good set of nut drivers. Now, as you purchase vehicles new, you'll typically get one of these cross wrenches. They are worth their weight in gold. Do not throw them away. You will use them over and over again. If you buy your used vehicles and you don't have any of these, ask a friend. There's a good chance that they're like me and they've probably got like 10 of them laying around, just because they somehow multiply. But after a while you will realize that these are good, but man, sometimes you just really don't want to have to deal with this small little cross wrench when you want to get your wheel nuts off. So you get yourself a good set of wrenches. These are just box end wrenches, hexes that you can get nuts off very easily with. fairly inexpensive. Again, link down below. Of course, no set of tools is complete without a good set of scissors and knife. You're always going to be opening packages. I preferably like these razor knives so I can get a blade in and out very easily. Set of scissors, you're always going to be opening parts. Always have these around. They get used a lot. Does this count as a tool? I'm really not too sure if this counts as a tool or not. You need Loctite. Did you hear that? You need Loctite. You will be putting metal screws into metal parts. They will vibrate loose. You will lose the screws. You will be sad. Use Loctite, prevent it. You want the blue, that's the medium strength stuff. A little bit goes a long way. Get it. I have this one that I keep here on the workbench. I have a smaller one that I put in my travel bag. Always have it on you. Now this one, some people might not agree with, but I promise you it's a no regrets purchase, and that is a set of shock pliers. These are the ones from Dynamite, but multiple companies out there offer them in different varieties. You have some ability right here to grab a shock shaft, up here maybe to grab the top of a shock to help you get the tops off. You have ball end tools right here in the middle so that you can pop balls out of shocks, all these kind of things. You are going to bend some shock shafts. You're going to break them. You're going to be rebuilding them. This is just a fact of RC. And you're going to probably do like me for the first little bit, which is try to cheat by using a pair of pliers. Remember those clamping, locking pliers that we talked about earlier? They scratch up your shock shafts. And maybe if you're just bashing, maybe you don't care. But as soon as you start getting into something like racing, crawling, drifting, you're gonna care, because the shock movement is important, and any burrs, any scratches that you leave on your shocks, you're literally just costing yourself more money than these shock pliers cost. Just get you some. Item number 9 helps you with your tools. All right, so if you've noticed so far as we talk through the tools, they're disappearing off the workbench. Do you know why? It's not where they belong. They don't lay on the workbench. You'll never find them again. All right, so they need a place to live. My favorite place is I got these mag bars. All right, these are magnetic bars that I have just screwed to the wall. You literally just take your tools, boop, there it is. You're working on your vehicle here. These are right here. Hey, I need my 2.5. You use it, it goes right back up. They're always there. They're always easy to hold. It's so worth it. One of my favorite purchases. Always recommend these. Now we're working our way into the nice to haves. Get these after you've got the other ones up there. And the first one on this list is one that I actually think should be in the top list. It's really close. The only reason why it didn't make the cut is I know so many folks in RC that have gone years without getting one, and they should have the whole time. And that is a good soldering station. Now, I'm not going to go through a full bunch of details on this weller that I use and what I use it, how I use it, and all that other kind of stuff. I have a whole separate video that I will link down below in the description and put at the end of the video. I have a whole separate video that goes through the soldering iron that I use, how I solder different plugs, what are the accessories I use, all that kind of stuff. But I promise you, you want a soldering iron. There is so much freedom in this hobby when you can solder up your own motor wires, battery leads, ESC plugs, all this kind of stuff. It frees you and makes life so much easier, and you stop spending all that money buying an adapter for this and an adapter for that and an adapter for that, and potentially some sketchy adapters that catch your stuff on fire. Related to the soldering iron is your heat gun. If you're going to be doing soldering, you're going to end up wanting to do some heat shrinking on those wires. And yes, you can get away using your lighter. You're going to burn your finger. You're probably going to burn your heat shrink. Just get yourself a heat gun, and hey, when it's cold outside, you can do your hair. This one is surprising. Maybe you already have it laying around. It is a worn out, super nasty 2-inch painter's brush. You just get you one. You'd be surprised how easy this is to help clean up dust and dirt off of your vehicle. Those brushes get down into corners and crevices that you otherwise couldn't get with a rag, and this helps you keep your vehicle a lot cleaner for a very small amount of money. As you get to modifying your RCs, you will eventually want some level of a rotary tool that you can get some cutoff blades for. You can get some grinding ends on it. I'll be honest, it's actually surprised me how much I have used this. This is a cordless model. It really surprises me how much I want to clearance a little bit of something or move a little bit of something, cut a little edge off, and all I have to do is grab this and go at it. Now, if you are cutting and grinding and all that on your RC, you've probably developed enough to the point where maybe you're building your own kit, maybe you're customizing something. You're going to need to be able to measure everything that's on your vehicle, and you need to be able to adjust it easily. This whole group right here, it satisfies all of that. So you end up with a set of calipers, so that as you're making turnbuckles and all that, you can make them exactly the same length, side versus side. Very, very important. At absolute minimum, you need, if you don't want to go for the full calipers, although honestly, they're like 10 bucks, you can get yourself a precision scale. This one has both inches and millimeters on it, down to the 1/2 millimeter. And so that way you can actually measure things very precisely. As you're making those turnbuckles and everything, you're going to need a turnbuckle wrench. Here is a 3.5 to 5 millimeter one, very kind of 8 scale focused one from Team Low C Racing. They also have some smaller generic ones that you will occasionally get with your kits, or you can buy these smaller ones also. Get them, it is useful. And as you're doing that, you may want something like this RPM camber gauge that measures the camber of your wheel very precisely, so that you can actually make sure left versus right, front versus rear, everything's set as you want it. Especially get these, it really does make your life better. You don't want to be eyeballing the dimensions, and you don't want to be just manhandling your turnbuckles with a set of pliers. The last item is also one that I held off for a long time and really regret. I really should have purchased this so much earlier for myself, and that is some conformal coating. So this is the stuff that you can use. You simply grab a small brush and you can brush it onto your electronics. So as an example, I frequently will do this with a receiver. We'll take the receiver apart. I will brush this on in order to coat that receiver and make it fully, no questions asked, fully waterproof. Really, really worth it. And I'll be honest, I've had this bottle for, I don't know, almost 2 years now, and I've used like not even a quarter of it. Just get yourself a bottle. They're cheap, and then you will have no questions about whether or not your vehicles are waterproof. That is it. That is the list that I have of the tools that you should really, really get if you are going to be starting into RC, or if you've been in a little bit and you want to add to your tool collection. Now, I guarantee I'll left some stuff out. Maybe there's some stuff you disagree with. I don't know. You tell me. Go down in the comments below and you can tell me what are tools that you think are must-haves everybody should have. What are some that maybe I said you need and you don't really agree with me? That's fine. Just tell me down below. I'm happy to have the conversation. I really appreciate all the support you give to the channel. I'm going to provide a link over here to that soldering video. So I'm going to be showing you what all the soldering equipment it is that I use, plus how to solder all the popular RC connectors for ESCs and batteries, so that you can get out there and do it really, really easily. I promise it's easier than you think it is. So come over there, check that out, and we will see you in that video. So thank you and goodbye.